got to stop making faith an anti-intellectual experience. Don't come to church and leave your brain at the door. Don't read the Bible and not bring your intellect to the Bible. Because when you read the Bible, you would come to discover that the Bible that you hold physically or even digitally is a Bible that has the biblical imperative of DEI. In other words, when you look at the broader scheme of Scripture, you will see that throughout Scripture, from Genesis to Revelation, God was concerned about, here it is, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So much so that the book opens up in Genesis 1. After God created the world, he created man. Here it is, after his own likeness and kindness. And he created us, here it is, with diversity. When you come to Pentecost, the birth of the church, on the day of Pentecost in Acts chapter number 2, there were people from all different nations. And they spoke in tongues in their native language, and they all understood. When you come to the book of Revelation, the last book of the Bible, it's interesting that John the Revelator sightsees in heaven, as one preacher would say. And even as he gives us a tour of heaven, it's interesting that heaven is made up of a diverse multitude of people from all language, all tongues, all tribes. And the Bible makes mention that is a place, here it is, that is inclusive of all people. Here's my argument, church, whether you believe it or not, that when you read the Bible, from a biblical kingdom perspective, it produces or introduces, better yet, this whole concept of DEI, diversity, this whole aspect, equality and equity, inclusion. Matter of fact, let me push it even the more. When you read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the Gospels, you cannot help but see that Jesus embraced this whole concept of DEI. Look at Jesus in Scripture. Look at his prophetic ministry in Scripture. When you look at Jesus, Jesus, of course, was one who was intentional in his approach of addressing people from all different walks of life, so much so that we see it demonstrated in how he elevated the excluded and how he ministered to the marginalized, how he blessed the broken and the bruised, how he touched the untouchable, how he dignified the dejected and even the disregarded, and how he ministered in such a way that he challenged the systemic barriers of his day. He said, don't tell me though I'm a Jew, I can't talk to a woman, and don't tell me that though I'm a Jew, I can't speak to a Samaritan. A matter of fact, when you look at Jesus, he broke against the systemic barriers of his day and introduce a kingdom of inclusivity.